means that you're more energetic and you want to move around and run around more. It means that I can be energetic and also have lots of fun, and my energy lasts for a lot of time and I'm hardly ever worn out.
Well, I feel like it's improved my life a lot, because if I probably didn't have ADHD, I would probably be like completely a normal person.
It makes me who I am, and I really like having ADHD because I make new friends at the clubs and it makes me feel happy.
There's lots of other people with ADHD out there in the world, and I want to try and support them as much as I can.
When you're initially sort of told that your child might have ADHD, the immediate thought is fear, and it's complete and utter not having an understanding of what that means, how that is going to affect your child, how that's going to affect you as a family, and what your next steps are. So when you start going down the process of getting a diagnosis, that can be quite intimidating. From a support group's perspective, what we try to do here is to allay those fears, is to reduce the stigma. But the parents that I've been supporting over the years that have gone through the QbTest process have all said how much it enhanced their ability to get that diagnosis and get the support quickly, because then they can go back to the school, they've got the evidence, it's pure evidence, black and white, right there, that they can then say, right, we have this diagnosis of ADHD, now can we get the support that we need for our child?
I've been using the QbTest for over 9 years, and I think the thing that has always impressed me is that it's an objective measure. The problem has always been this myth that ADHD doesn't really exist, and it is just about naughty children and bad parents. And for me, one of the reasons why that myth has continued is because there hasn't been any objective evidence, and we've been very reliant on subjective methods such as questionnaires and observations, rating scales, and just reports from parents and school. So the QbTest is the first real, almost investigative process which has allowed some objectivity. And the advantage has been that the parent and the child can actually see the outcome of the test. I should also add that it's particularly valuable when it's a non-diagnosis of ADHD. The confidence in technology is such nowadays that if the computer says no, it's not ADHD, the parents are much more accepting of that, and we're having much smoother consultations when that process has happened. But overwhelmingly, the ability to be able to see the result of the test and to actually compare it to a control that is age and gender matched has really proved invaluable. I think an early diagnosis is really important because the first part of any management of ADHD is about psychoeducation. It's essential for parents to understand why their child is behaving or learning in the way that they are. And that also actually accounts for the teaching staff who need to know the challenges that they're having in the classroom from that child are explainable by a neurodevelopmental issue. And so that early diagnosis allows recognition, and it allows the management techniques to be changed slightly. You can make the differences with just a little bit of information and understanding about ADHD. Because ADHD is a highly comorbid condition, very few children only have ADHD. So some of the things that you can actually look for and find on QB testing may be a learning issue, autistic spectrum disorder or condition, and an anxiety. If you can get that diagnosis and help in early, that child has every chance to reach their potential.
Kind of, I really liked it, and I would really like to do it again because I love the little clicky dots and it's just so much fun.
He went to the speech therapist, and then he was sent to Dr. Mustafa, and then Dr. Mustafa put him forward for a QbTest. So me and my mum took Jake down there and sat him, and he had his little band around his head, and he had to sit in front of a screen, and each time there was a dot on the screen he had to click a button, which then turned into a fishing rod, and it kind of just, yeah, it was everywhere around the room. And then it wasn't that long before, after that they came back that he'd obviously got the highest score for ADHD, and when you look, the little line on his head was like all over the paper. So yeah, it was, he did really well though, bless him.
If you go on parents say and the school say, in my case it was conflicting. Even the two teachers from year 3 and 4 both wrote different things, and Kim Selby couldn't work that out herself. How is it these two teachers saw him less than 6 months apart and they're both saying different things, and then mum's saying completely different to how he is. So with this, it's an independent thing rather than hearsay, like she's saying, he's saying, sort of thing. So yeah, I think it helped because medically they can see it and it can be scored.
When I looked at the results and they was kind of explained to me, it was like, wow, yeah, it's kind of some data that you can look at which you don't really get along the journey, do you? So it's it was kind of reassuring to know that, yeah, this is actually happening. This is the data that's showing how her brain is functioning under those stress situations. So yeah, it did feel, did make us feel, I think, a bit more confident in that we knew we was doing the right thing. Yeah.
Life is a lot easier now. We're not walking on eggshells because we know why, and he's given that time during the day just to focus and be calm. So life is definitely better now if we've got a diagnosis. Don't judge. You may see what you think is a naughty child, but there is definitely a lot more going on.
Getting a diagnosis of ADHD isn't the end of the world, and initially I did think that, and I fought the diagnosis because I didn't think my son had it. But actually, after getting the diagnosis, it was an epiphany. It was like, that's why he does that. That's why he chooses to play in that particular way, or that's why he struggles with his social aspect. And as he's grown and as he's blossomed, I've realised that he isn't like other children, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. I just accept him for who he is, and by doing that, he accepts him for who he is. He doesn't fight to be someone who he isn't, because he's just this amazing human being that I actually aspire to be.
Just embrace it, yeah, the world just needs to let go of all the stigma and just embrace it, and just know there's so many great people in the world, and people with ADHD can do great things, don't hold them back.